Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and today we're going to be doing something largely positive today. Some people were saying, based on my previous video yesterday, that I haven't been very positive lately. So you know what? I'm going to try my best to be 80 to 90% positive in this video, because we're going to talk about why Marvel Strike Force is the best mobile game on the market, and there's nothing wrong with it. And okay, I get what you're thinking here. Yeah, Boilon's lost the plot here. But really, if you watched my video the other day, you'll know that basically there's been a declining trend in players in Marvel Strike Force, and why you should download now if you haven't already, because we need more players. So what I'm gonna be doing in this video is I'm gonna be going through all of the major aspects of the game. I'm going to be assessing it based on my opinions. You know, why am I still here playing Marvel Strike Force? And I want to be as objective as possible in this. Cover literally everything that I can think of in the game. I'm going to talk about it, what I like, what I dislike about it, and hopefully we can leave this on a positive note for once, because apparently all my videos are negative. So if you're ready to go, then let's boil this down. But of course, this isn't Marvel Strike Force without pointing out this piece, another bug blog, or another messed up blog, basically telling how they effed up. Compensation for Blitz and Horseman Harvest Orb drops. So if you guys were there at 2 p.m. yesterday, then you would know that things were not working properly. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I said I wasn't going to be negative. I apologize, everyone. So there was a problem with the web milestone not rewarding points properly. Basically, in the first 20 or 30 minutes, you had to manual play, otherwise you wouldn't get points. Now, a lot of people blew their Blitz charges for the event on their Young Avengers teams and didn't get the associated points related to it. So what are they doing instead? They're going to throw out 400 Blitz charges, 200 extra campaign energy, and 1,000 Horseman Harvest Orb fragments. So the half an orb is decent. It's actually a decent orb. We'll talk about that maybe as well. And so you'll have to blitz some more to make up for that, but hopefully the blitz charges does help. I only blew maybe 50 charges, so this will be a net positive for me. So that's okay there. But once again, you know, it just shows that, you know, if you go into their update section, that you can see, if you zoom out, you can see all these squares. We talked about this already, right? How many squares of these are bug squares? And a lot of them, 80% of these outside of the weekly blog, this one, and that one, and this one, all these other ones are bugs. It's just absolutely wild. Now, if you watched my video from yesterday, is Marvel Strike Force dying? 20k plus players gone from Marvel Strike Force and revenue down. Now, I will acknowledge that there was some critiques on my analysis of the revenue. And yes, it wasn't, there was a couple of things that I missed. That I probably should have used months from a previous year. You know, January 2022, or I don't know, you know, September 2021 versus September 2022, something like that. And also the fact that they do get money based on their web store, which obviously can't be accounted for because we don't know how much money people are spending on the web store versus other areas of the game. But one thing that I think that is really hard to dispute is that the player base is going down. That we are having less players in the game than before, than this time early on in the year and this time last year. You can use whatever excuse you want, but the fact is that it's going down. That's it. You know, you can blame whatever you want, whether it's the bugs, COVID, whatever, but we have less players in the game now than we did before, and that's a concerning trend. That being said, that's the negativity. Here's the positivity. Let's talk about what we do enjoy, or what I enjoy about Marvel Strike Force. Otherwise, I still wouldn't be here, right? So I'm going to go through every single aspect of the game, in no particular order necessarily, and we're going to try and cover everything. So let's start off with Arena, because it's right there. What do I like about Arena? I try to keep on top of Arena, you know, for obvious reasons, because it's important, because you need to do it for power cores. And we know that power cores are the lifeblood of the game. Power cores are the lifeblood of events, and if you don't have power cores, you often can't complete, you know, without spending a lot of these events that are coming up, because you indirectly or directly need them, either by spending power cores or using them to get extra energy. It's usually what it ends up being. Other than that, what do I think about the game mode more broadly? It's a means to an end for the power cores. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. It doesn't take a significant amount of time. I'm doing fairly well. Maybe takes less than 10 minutes a day, I would say, for me. I don't even do all my 5 attacks. So let's talk about events. And this is something that is a bit of a mixed bag, because we still have the monthly events, and for better or for worse, I'm not... Well, you guys know how I felt about the Abomination September month-long event, so we're not going to talk about that. But they did improve upon it with the Future Shock, with Spider-Man 2099 and the monthly events. But more broadly, the monthly events, I still don't like them. And I never really did like them. And the reason for that is if you just miss anything, if you miss anything at all, you're effed. Like, you're out of the running for some of the major milestones at the end. If you even miss, like, a day or two, right, you're out. And that's a big problem. And I think a lot of people will say that, you know, or I would say specifically, that if we didn't have the month-long event, it's not that we wouldn't have these same milestone events that we're already getting, because we would. They've just complicated it and overcomplicated it. What you need to do on a monthly basis to accomplish all of these goals. Now they've intertwined, like, all of these milestone events into one major milestone, which just adds to the confusion and the complication that is wholly unnecessary, in my opinion. So this Rogues Gallery, for example, which then funnels into Future Shock. So all of the rewards that we're getting, you know, across the month, it's not like we wouldn't get it any other way. They've just designed it in such a way that makes it overly complicated for a lot of players to convince them to spend money to bridge the gaps. Is it working? Not for me. Is it working for others? Maybe. You know, leave a comment down below. You know, have you been baited into buying offers to complete these events? Some people have. We have the campaign events. Those are pretty normal, and I like them because they're easy to get characters for. Whether it's a 4 or 5 star character, free to play, that's probably the most player-friendly event in Marvel Strike Force is the campaign events. It always has been. That's really all I have to say about this. Avengers Tower, I guess, is a completely separate thing. We can talk about that now. Neither here nor there. If they did actually run this on a month... Oh, it's not there. If they actually decided to run it on a monthly basis, the milestones that you do get in the Avengers Tower are actually pretty good, both for new players and for late game players, because there's a lot of orange catalyst that I still need that you can get out of Avengers Tower milestones. So if they were to consistently run this once a month, I would be happy for that, and that'd be a step in the right direction. Even as far as just, you know, letting loose on some of the bottlenecks, because we'd have more resources. The Scourge events. I feel like we need to talk about this in conjunction with all of them together, and I don't want to spend too much time on that, because I believe I spent a lot of time on that on the other video, where we talked about reasons that people may be quitting the game. And some people like it, some people don't. It is more, I have to say, a newer player-friendly version of getting legendaries than past methods through the old system. And the reason I say that is because by 2 passes of Morgan Le Fay, my baby account was able to unlock Morgan Le Fay in less than 3 months, which is pretty something, in my opinion. But, you know, because I don't even have any other legendaries, actually, outside of Iron Man. I don't have, on my baby account, I don't have any other legendaries. I have Morgan Le Fay and I have Iron Man. So I think it's hilarious, and after 2 standard runs of these events, my baby account can unlock it basically by level 50 or 60, because you rank 100k, you get your 40, 50 shards or whatever, and then you're going to do it again, and then you're going to do a little bit better, and you're going to unlock that character. I didn't unlock War, I got 75 shards, but I'm hoping that when Famine comes back around in a couple weeks, that I'll be able to unlock her, maybe even on the first pass, and that'd be great. So I actually do like the Scourge events, but I don't like where it's headed with Apocalypse, and if Apocalypse doesn't end up panning out how people want it to, I think that a lot of people are going to be very unhappy, and we'll see where things go from there, and how many more people might end up quitting, or just won't do another round of it next year in 2023. Milestones. Now, there's not much to say here, really, because a lot of this hasn't been changed in some time. I like the fact that they added in the Save the World campaign energy streak stuff here. That's extra resources that we didn't have before. The golden opportunity thing, well, I don't like the fact that you need to spend 6 million to rank, so that's a bit of an issue, and that takes over the old milestone. Even the rank awards are pretty garbage. Actually, I did it like the other day, and I got 51 to 100% after spending 6 million. That felt pretty trashy. Not much to say really here, so I don't know if that's a net positive or negatives. Challenges, I feel like we need more levels on some of these other ones, or did we already do that? I don't know. I don't think they have. I think they just improved the stuff you got from Tier 14 and all the other tiers, but I don't feel they added new ones. They did add the new Origin ones, and that's great. Actually, this was a step in the right direction, because I feel that, you know, if you can clear D5 of all of the Origin challenges, you're getting like 12, you know, 12-9, 12-9-6 of these teal gear pieces, you know, twice a week. So it does add up, and that's quite helpful as well. So I do like that. That's really it. They need to add more challenges of the standard ones, in my opinion, instead of just buffing them, which they did do with Catalyst of Change, and I'm happy about that. Positive step in the right direction. So now you're getting 51 SBCs and 36 stat catalysts per day, or 3 times a week, which is about 150 and 100 and something of these. So that's actually quite a bit. So I'm happy for that as well. So that's a positive for me. Let's talk about campaigns. Honestly, and this comes down to farmability. Campaigns and farmability. They really need to add a brand new campaign. So we had, I don't know when Doom War 4 came out, but it's been a while, I think. It was okay, but there's like, because there's some teal stuff, teal catalysts in here at least, and some G14 and 15 minis, that's nice. But I think they need a brand new campaign. It doesn't even have to be an endgame campaign, but I suspect that if they ever do, it will be. I just want something else, something different. Something, maybe like a mutant chapter. That would be kind of cool, or a new Apocalypse chapter, or something. Someplace where that they could, you know, put in new stuff, new characters to farm, and, you know, really just alleviate that backload that we have on farmable characters, because that's a huge issue. That's an issue on its own. That probably requires a separate video. You guys have seen me talk about farmability quite frequently, so I'm not going to do it too much here. But it is still an ongoing problem. And actually, I went back, you know, I still have this up. I went back and read some of the comments on here. There's a lot, by the way, you know, and a lot of them were very good. I almost think that I, you know, need to actually do my own video, you know, reading the comments, because there were so many of them, and actually some of them were pretty good, and I just don't have the time, unfortunately, to reply to everyone. So my apologies if you did comment on this video. I did see them. It's just I didn't get the chance to actually, you know, reply to every single one. I did actually reply to quite a few of them, but not all of them. And there's some really good stuff in here. And so I might actually cover this on a separate video, because I think it's worth talking about why people are so frustrated about Marvel Strike Force, and what either got them to quit or what's making them think about quitting, because there's a lot of pain points in the game, I think, you know, and more than I can cover here today. Blitz, it sucks. Blitz sucks. It's another means to an end, but I think a worse means to an end than Arena. It's the worst game mode in Marvel Strike Force, and while I'm here, I'll remember to do my Young Avengers Blitz. I only do it on Young Avengers and my Web Warriors, because it has Miles in it. And that's it. Just these two. That's it. Hopefully I win that. And that's really largely what we do with it now. You know, because they've removed new characters from it, for better or for worse. Now we only have 1 character blitz once a week instead of 2. So I'm not sure if I like that part, to be honest, because I felt like it was better for newer players when there's 2 characters running every week, and the orbs on the weekend. And now we have that quick rumble nonsense, which I'm not really sure if I'm in favor of that. Let me know in the comments down below if you prefer the 1 character weekly or 2 character blitz weeklies before May, when we had the quick rumble. Yeah, that's all I really to say there. Most times it's not a character that we really need, and half the time it's not even a character that new players need. Alliance raids. Actually, let's talk about alliances more broadly, specifically first. So alliances are what it is, right? And this is, well, actually I was going to go to Alliance Donate. Yeah, this one, I don't know which window to go to. It doesn't really matter. The point is that, you know, it's tough. Not for me, but it's tough for everyone else. So some of the comments that I've read in that other video was that maintaining alliances are very challenging. There's not a lot of user interface tools for captains and leaders to recruit. Recruiting is such a pain in the ass. Retention of members sometimes is a pain in the ass. And so for everyone else, you know, I feel your pain, because I've been recruiting for my alliance for 3 years. You know, even before I was a content creator, I was doing it, and it was a struggle, and I understand. And so I think as a quality of life thing, I'd really like for Marvel Strike Force to have some better recruitment tools, some better ways to that's in game. Let me be really clear. Things that are in game that doesn't require you to be on Discord, Reddit, Facebook, or wherever to recruit. There should be an easier in-game tool to help manage that, and they don't have that. It's tough. That's all I have to say about that. Let's talk about alliance raids. This is actually the most, I want to say fun. It is. It does get, of course, a bit repetitive, like everything else does. When they included the raid sims, that was very helpful for screen time, for better or for worse. I can actually, for Doom raids anyways, which is the top, depending on who's watching this is the top raid content, not specifically the difficulty I'm running, but this raid. And I can actually raid sim the Mystic lane and the Tech lane. So about 40% of my raids in Doom 3, I can raid sim. And I'm pretty thankful for that, because that subtracts the amount of screen time that I have to put in on a daily basis. Now, I still have to do some manuals, and that's fine, but the fact that I can slim down or shave off some of my screen time on a daily basis, the raid sim activation was a pretty important thing that they brought to Marvel Strike Force, and of course, for Greek raids, I'm doing that all the time as well. So, for those of you who do it and who knows how to use it, all I have to do is click the button and then boom, there you go, and I get the node cleared. And so even on the Greek raids, that saves me a couple minutes per node, maybe 2 minutes per node, because they're not that hard. But then let's, while we're here, just let's launch Gamma 4.3. There you go, Alliance. And so raids are what it is. It's actually, raids are the second most important daily content, in my opinion, in Marvel Strike Force, so it's really important to do. That alongside Arena because of the power cores. RTA, not good. It's trashed. It's a means to an end. They even allowed you to get points through blitzing, and that really showed. And the daily store gift thing. And so they really just threw RTA credits at the rating tokens at you because nobody really wants to do it. It's a dead game mode. That's sad, but where did they come up with this? Oh yeah, their little game jam session. Yeah, and we never did get the leagues. And we never did get events. They should probably just obliterate this game mode and bring in something else. Not their finest hour. Cosmic Crucible. One of their newest game modes to come to Marvel Strike Force. It's Solo Alliance War, which we'll talk about as well. And for better or for worse, I actually like this. And you know why? Because it doesn't rely on my alliance. So I do not have to rely on 23 other members to make progress. I can do it by myself. And I think they need more solo content, frankly. I think there's so much tied with alliances that's what makes Cosmic Crucible a little bit more refreshing. There's, for those of you who don't know, there's 6 teams. It's 6 on, well, not 6 on 6, but there's 6 defenses and all your attacks, right? And so it doesn't require as many teams overall as Alliance War does either. And so for that, I give it a thumbs up. It, of course, probably will get repetitive. I like the fact that they're changing the rules as well. For what it's worth, there's my defense. You guys have probably seen it before anyways. But I do like that each of the rooms have been changing every season. I think that 3 months for a season is a bit long, but it is what it is. And I hope that they keep changing each of these 4 rooms every 3 months at the very least. And that'll mix things up a little bit. I just wish it was maybe every 2 months instead of every 3. Feels a bit long. Epic campaigns, this is basically the rehash of Dark Dimension. Not much to say here. I've already talked about Apocalypse. I'm not really going to talk about it too much here. Dark Dimension, I feel that this is kind of in the past. I don't feel that they're going to be adding to this. I think the only thing that they're going to be doing in the future is adding in whatever 2023 brings, and they're probably going to be new Epic campaign related to that, and that's going to be like Gear Tier 18, or whatever that ends up being next year, so... That's all I have to say about that. Alliance War, this of course is... It's a mixed bag. I don't like to pay too close attention to this because I don't feel that the resources are worth it overall, but it is still something that you should semi-pay attention to. The only problem is that the matchmaking is pretty terrible, and of course, who you get matched up with, there's nothing you can really do about it, because sometimes, you get matched up with someone close to you, sometimes you get matched up with someone that's way above you, TCP-wise, but they've recently added in blue 4 ions, which is really important to your gameplay, and overall to what you need for blue 4 ions, which will eventually be used for raids as well in Doom Raid further on, but also for the Apocalypse Saga, you need characters, everyone at blue 4 ions, actually blue 5 for Big Apocalypse, blue 4 for Baby Apocalypse. So yeah, need lots of these T2 level 4 ions. Is it enough to get me to actually care about Alliance War though? No, not really. I take what I can get. We win some, we lose some, and that's just how it is, right? And hopefully I can maintain my trophy rank. We're at Platinum 3 now. We got a promotion a couple weeks back, and from Plat 2 to Plat 3. Hopefully we can maintain it, but at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. Alliance War has never really been that fun, and actually it's been more aggravating since they've added in way more war defense teams, or just war teams in general. We have the Gamma team most recently, and what a struggle it has been to fight Alliance Wars with 12 plus full Gamma teams on the defense. It's just, it's not fun. It's aggravating, actually. What else do we have? We'll just talk about the store stuff, I guess. The store needs a little bit of an overhaul. I feel like they haven't, there's a few things that they haven't done. I actually want to start at the end, which is actually with the Ultra store. This is the Ultimates credits crap. They haven't updated this in forever, and nobody's buying this shit. Nobody's buying the orbs either. And so I think realistically they need to add a teal section, drop the prices on like everything because nobody's spending that much. In fact, most people are still buying the Ultimates orbs, which never really changed because, sorry, what I mean is that like when they added all this stuff, nobody's really buying any of this stuff. People were just buying the Ultimates orbs anyways because it's a de facto another premium orb and gives you another Russian roulette chance at, you know, getting some of these rare characters. So that's what I just do. I treat it as another premium orb and then just recycle it. This store, Ultron. So when Ultron appears in here, that price needs to come down because it's pretty much actually more expensive than buying the Horseman characters, and that makes little sense. Ultron should get a red star, a dark promotion credit, red star reduction cost. Maybe some people would consider buying it. That's it. Direct promotions would be really great, but I just don't see that coming anytime soon. They should add a teal war orb. They should finally get off their ass and implement a teal gear war orb, I think, at this stage, which would include, at the very least, tier 16 minis. But at this stage, I think we need a teal gear 1 and a teal gear 2 orb for T17 minis as well when they decide to loosen that up. That would make a war... Actually, I don't think people would care about war even if they added in teal gear war orbs. I think people still just par the course what they normally do, and I don't think that there's a lot of people out there, aside from maybe top 50 alliances, who actually give a crap about Alliance War, because it's pretty terrible. Other than that, the stores are what they are. You know, characters are added in here every so often, and it's neither here nor there. I heard that they actually stopped removing older characters from the War store, like when they added in Echo. I heard that they didn't actually remove anyone from the War store. Let me know in the comments down below if you know that's true or false. I don't keep track of every single character in here, but there's a lot of characters that don't need to be in here anymore, if that makes sense. I think that's about it. Orbs, I don't really have much to say about that. So, you know, I think that covers it. Outside of roster stuff, you know, and this is my roster... You know, by the way, and the only thing that I have to say here really is farmability. Once again, I have to talk about farmability because it's just so far in the hole. I don't have my spreadsheet up, you know, and it doesn't need to be up right now. You guys have probably seen my farmability spreadsheet, my character spreadsheet, you know, and how many characters we're behind, and it really doesn't matter. But the fact is, we're just, you know, most characters don't become farmable for about 6 to 8 months. And I think that's really killed the drive for a lot of new players as well when they come into the game. And they realize that they just can't keep up. They can't catch up with any of these characters that are kind of semi-required, but there's no way of getting them other than spending money. And I think that's just really disappointing because a lot of players in other games would be able to, you know, get characters within 4 months, say, which I believe is what it is for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So for me, farmability still actually is one of my biggest sticking points in Marvel Strike Force. I think if they were to fix that, that would go a long way for my positivity in Marvel Strike Force and why I think it's still a great game. There's just these sticking points that really need to be resolved for me to really just want to recommend it. If somebody asks me, do I recommend you playing Marvel Strike Force and should you start now? My answer would be no. But I just wish that wasn't the case. It's because it's so, in a lot of ways, it's very difficult for new players to engage with this if you don't spend a lot of money. Whereas in the past, things were never really that bad, in my opinion, and things have gotten progressively a little bit worse. But I've tried to be as positive as I possibly can about everything that I could think of here in Marvel Strike Force. Let me know if I missed something that I should have talked about in the comments down below. And of course, guys, until next time, stay safe and healthy. And I'll see y'all later. Maybe we'll get Spider-Man Noir pretty soon. Should be in an event in the 3rd week of October. Boilon signing out.